Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that you have been working for 20 years. You have earned money, you have paid bills, you have bought things, and you have tried to save whatever was left. But then you look at your bank account and ask yourself, where is the money that was supposed to change my life? This is a question millions of people eventually face. And today, we are going to talk about something that could completely change the way you think about money. Don't just save money, learn to invest it. Now, this doesn't mean taking all your savings and putting them into risky investments. It doesn't mean trying to become rich overnight. The idea is much simpler. Instead of waiting until you have a lot of money before you start investing, learn to start small and build the habit consistently. Because one of the biggest advantages you have is not necessarily the amount of money you have today. It is time. Saving money is important. You need emergency savings. You need money for unexpected expenses. You need financial security, but saving alone may not be enough to build long-term wealth. Imagine two people. Person A saves $100 every month and keeps all of it as cash. Person B also puts $100 aside every month, but gradually learns about diversified long-term investments and invests according to a sensible plan. After 1 month, the difference may be almost invisible. After 1 year, it may still not look dramatic. But over 10, 20, or 30 years, the difference can become significant because investments have the potential to grow through compounding. Compounding is one of the most powerful ideas in personal finance. It means that your money can potentially generate returns, and those returns can themselves generate returns. Think about planting a tree. In the beginning, you see almost nothing. You water it, you protect it, you wait. Then one day, the tree becomes large enough to produce fruit. Your money can work in a similar way when it is invested responsibly over a long period. The beginning may look boring, but boring can become powerful when you give it enough time. One of the biggest myths about investing is, I will start investing when I become rich. But what if becoming disciplined with small amounts is part of the process that helps you build wealth? You don't necessarily need thousands of dollars to begin learning. You might start with a small amount that fits your personal budget. Maybe it is $1, maybe $5, maybe $10, maybe $20. The exact amount is less important than developing the habit. The goal isn't to impress people with how much you invest. The goal is to create a system that you can realistically maintain. Because investing $10 consistently is more useful than planning to invest $1,000 someday and never actually starting. Imagine you decide to invest a small amount regularly. You wake up. You earn money, you pay your necessary expenses, and instead of spending every remaining dollar, you deliberately put a small portion toward your future. Maybe you invest $5. $5 doesn't look powerful. You probably won't feel richer tomorrow. You won't wake up the next morning and see a fortune. But that's not the point. The point is that you are teaching yourself a new behavior. You're telling yourself, I don't have to spend everything I earn. That mindset is extremely powerful. Because wealth isn't only about income. It is also about what happens to the money after you receive it. You can earn a lot and still remain financially weak if every dollar immediately leaves your hands. And you can earn a modest income while gradually building financial strength if you consistently control your spending and put money toward productive assets. When people hear the word investing, they immediately think about stocks, businesses, real estate, or cryptocurrency. But one of the best investments can be yourself. Invest in your education. Invest in useful skills. Invest in books. Invest in learning how businesses work. Invest in communication. Invest in technology skills. Invest in skills that can increase your ability to earn. Imagine spending a small amount every month learning something that helps you earn more over time. That investment could potentially be more valuable than obsessing over tiny daily market movements. Your knowledge travels with you. Your skills travel with you. And unlike many physical possessions, knowledge can continue creating opportunities. Real estate is another asset people often associate with wealth. But many people think, I need millions before I can enter real estate. There are different ways people can participate in real estate depending on their country, regulations, available investment products, and financial situation. Some people eventually buy physical property. Others may use regulated investment vehicles that provide exposure to real estate without directly owning a building. But don't invest just because something sounds profitable. Understand the numbers, understand the risks, understand the fees, understand the market, and never invest money you cannot afford to lose simply because someone promised you guaranteed returns. Here's another powerful strategy: automate your investing. Why? Because relying on motivation doesn't always work. Today you might feel motivated. Tomorrow you might see a new phone. Next week you might want new clothes. Next month you might have an unexpected expense. If your investment contribution happens automatically after you receive your income, you reduce the temptation to spend that money first. Instead of saying, "I'll invest whatever is left at the end of the month," you can create a system where a predetermined amount goes toward savings or investing before discretionary spending. The exact amount should depend on your income, expenses, emergency savings, debt, and personal circumstances. The important thing is to create a sustainable system. But remember something extremely important. Don't invest money you need tomorrow. If you need money next week to pay rent, food, school fees, transportation, or another essential expense, you shouldn't treat that money like long-term investment capital. Before taking significant investment risk, consider building an appropriate emergency fund and dealing with high-interest debt. Financial stability comes first. Then long-term investing can become part of your strategy. There is another problem that nobody talks about enough. People spend money to look rich instead of using money to become financially stronger. A new phone, expensive clothes, luxury restaurants, cars they cannot comfortably afford, constant entertainment. Social media makes this even worse. You see someone driving a luxury car and assume they are rich. But you don't know whether they own the car. You don't know whether they have debt. You don't know what's happening inside their bank account. Don't compete with someone else's lifestyle. Build your own financial foundation. Because looking rich and being financially secure are two completely different things. People love dramatic stories. They want to hear about someone who invested $1,000 and turned it into $100,000. But real wealth building is often much less exciting. It looks like saving, investing, learning, working, avoiding unnecessary debt, and repeating again, and again, and again, for years. That's the part people don't put on social media. Nobody wants to watch a video called, "I invested $10 every week for 15 years. But that boring discipline can be far more important than chasing the next big opportunity. Be careful with anyone promising guaranteed profits. Be careful with secret strategies. Be careful with investments you don't understand. Be careful with people who tell you that you cannot lose. Every investment has some form of risk. The higher the potential return, the more important it becomes to understand what could go wrong. If someone says, "Give me your money and I'll guarantee you 50% every month," walk away. Real investing isn't magic. It requires patience, discipline, research, and risk management. Now imagine yourself 10 years from today. Imagine that person looking back at the decisions you're making right now. Would they be proud that you started? Would they be grateful that you learned about money? Would they appreciate that you stopped wasting every dollar? Or would they wish you had started earlier? You cannot control yesterday, but you can control what you do with the next dollar you receive. You can choose to spend everything, or you can choose to give a portion of your money a job. Some money pays today's bills. Some money protects you from emergencies. And some money can potentially work toward your future. You don't necessarily need to invest literally every single day. The deeper idea is to develop an everyday investment mindset. Every day, ask yourself, what can I do today that makes my future financially stronger? Maybe today you save $5. Maybe tomorrow you read 10 pages of a financial book. Maybe the next day you learn about investing. Maybe another day you research a business idea. Maybe you avoid an unnecessary purchase. Maybe you improve a skill that can increase your income. These are all investments in your future. Because wealth is not created only by putting money into an investment account. It is also created by improving the person who earns the money. You don't need to wait until you're rich. You don't need to wait until you have the perfect job. You don't need to wait until the economy is perfect. You don't need to wait until you understand everything. Start by learning. Start by controlling your spending. Start by building financial security. And when appropriate for your situation, start investing small amounts consistently. Because the goal isn't to become rich tomorrow. The goal is to become financially stronger year after year. Remember this. Don't spend everything you earn. Don't chase overnight wealth. Don't invest blindly. Instead, protect some, save some, invest some, learn constantly, and give time a chance to work in your favor. Your first dollar the 5th of may not change your life. Your first dollar the 10th of may not change your life. Your first $100 may not change your life. But the habit you build by starting with that money could change the direction of your life. So don't ask, how much money do I need before I can invest? Ask, how can I start with a small amount today? Because the most important investment might not be the one that makes you rich immediately. It might be the one that teaches you how to build wealth for the rest of your life. Start small, stay consistent, think long term, and let time do some of the heavy lifting.